This is one of a small batch of paper mache pumpkins I made back in 2018, and at the time I really liked it, but now it doesn't really meet my standards. I mean, it doesn't even really look like a pumpkin that much, but I was raised to never throw anything away. I'm a bit of a hoarder, so instead of punting this thing into the woods behind my house like I probably should, I'm gonna give it a much needed upgrade. I'm gonna start off by removing and flipping the top of the pumpkin. You can really see the lack of skill and patience I had making this. I mean, the newspaper doesn't even look like paper mache paste was applied to it, and there's masking tape in there. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but that's okay. You gotta start somewhere. You never get good if you don't try. I decided instead of flipping the lid, I would hot glue it back in place, using some cardboard spacers to make the top of the pumpkin concave so it looks less like a paper mache balloon and more like an actual pumpkin. The face is flat, so I cut the entire thing out in somewhat symmetrical pieces. Then I just kind of hold up the pieces at different angles to spark some sort of idea of how I want to reassemble the face. With some cardboard inserts, I start building out the face to have more of a snout. I thought that might be cool. It's different than something I've done before. More cardboard will be hot glued in place to fill any remaining gaps. It doesn't have to be perfect because this is all going to get covered up. The bottom of the pumpkin is very flimsy and spongy, and I mean, you can see I used duct tape for some reason. I don't know what I was doing. So instead of going over it with more paper mache strips like a normal person, I'm going to use some plaster strips that have been sitting around since, well, yeah, probably since 2018. So I might as well use these up and also strengthen up the pumpkin. I also went over the top that I cut out and glued back in with some of the plaster strips as well. Instead of making traditional teeth, I tried something new and glued small pieces of cardboard together and then carved them into teeth that I was going to sculpt over later. Don't do this. It's a waste of time and effort. I got the right idea for the bottom teeth and switched to carving insulation foam into some really cool spiky shapes. And I probably should have replaced the cardboard teeth with these foam ones, but I spent so much time on them and I'm stubborn. Then I started building up the ridges of the pumpkin with a mix of wood glue and cotton balls. It's a slow process because it takes so long to dry, so I thought I'd cheat a little bit and use some Gorilla Glue that's mixed together with water because it foams up pretty significantly, and this would be a good way to quickly bulk out the pumpkin ridges with some hard foam. Wear gloves. Always wear gloves. It did a pretty good job, and then I bulked it up some more with a bit of hot glue. And now I'm going to make everything nice and smooth with Crayola Model Magic mixed with a little bit of wood glue. This stuff is unintentionally my new favorite material. I bought a bunch of it on clearance because I thought it might be cool, so I just use it on everything now apparently. The key is to mix just enough glue with the Model Magic so it will stick to more than just itself. And I guess the second key in the key ring is to keep it as thin as possible. This is not to be used to bulk up a project or gap fill. If the Model Magic is too thick, it will crack like crazy. And if you try to finish the project before the Model Magic is fully dried or cured all the way through, it will continue to crack. So let it sit for like a good 3 days at least, which is not that bad when you consider that regular paper mache paste takes, a day or two anyways. So it's basically the same timetable. I've got some videos on my channel where I didn't take my own advice and I applied a really thick layer of Model Magic, and you can see the hassle that I had trying to fix it and didn't really succeed. I don't know if that's a good endorsement to watch my other videos. Scratch that. Ignore that part. I painted it all up and had more of kind of like a lighter color scheme. I was tired of doing just straight up orange, but I still wasn't satisfied because I didn't like the way the stem looked. So I pulled out the rotary tool and sanded on it a little bit to get the ridges looking better, and then finished off with some air dry clay to get a more realistic looking stem. And now I'm finally satisfied with it. I mean, it's still rough looking, but I like it. And I think I have a better plan of action to make paper mache pumpkins in the future. I don't know if this is helpful or not, or just maybe you're entertained by my failures. But thanks for watching. Subscribe. It's free. Liking is also free. Leaving a comment that's positive is also free. Goodbye.